welcome to the latest episode of the Wind Down Rewind, where we rewind the latest in entertainment and pop culture news. I'm Eddie.
And I'm Tammy.
How are you doing today, Tammy?
I'm doing okay.
That's good. See, thought I started off a little differently today. See how you doing with all this news? And I also did that because I don't know about you, but as I was going through the news, it's a little heavy this week. This episode we start off with a series of rest in pieces and powers. I don't know what it is about the beginning of the year, but going back for the past 2 years, it seems like January is just like has become the most morbid month where we say goodbye to a lot of people. This week we got beloved comedian and Full House star Bob Saget. It's like another piece of our childhood just kind of, gone. Fashion icon and legend Andre Leon Talley. He was Anna Wintour's right-hand man at Vogue for an extremely long time. Just a true giant in the world of fashion, especially Black fashion. So that is a big loss to the fashion world. Rock star, I don't know. I should feel like I should say heavy metal icon. Meatloaf. Were you a big Meatloaf fan?
Nope.
Were you a Meatloaf fan?
Nope.
Nope. From the Bat Out of Hell. I think his heyday was way before my time, but I knew who he was, and there was a song that he had that I really liked. He passed away, as well as comedian Louis Anderson. And just wanted to send a shout out to Regina King. She lost her son, her only child, Ian Alexander Jr., who unfortunately took his own life. So just want to send love and light to the friends and family and fans of all of those people. May they rest in peace and power. I feel like I need a palate cleanser after that. So, in other sad news, I know this one hurt you. This one cuts you deep. Take a moment of silence for Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet. They're splitting up after 16 years together.
It was 16 years? Dang.
Yeah, they were together for 16 and married for 5. So, yeah. But so on one hand, it's like, some people, they were like, "Ooh, now I finally got a chance with Jason Momoa." They were a cute couple. They were a great couples goals, so to speak. And on the other hand, I'm like, I want to see who she gonna pull out next because she got a history of dating some fine ass men, So I want to see who's next on her list because she got some good taste, Lenny Kravitz, Jason Momoa, yeah. But we will see, and we'll see. And in other couples news, Kanye is going crazy again, gaslighting Kim. He's actually making me take the side of a Kardashian in just all his crazy antics. As that split gets worse and worse, and him threatening Pete Davidson and all of that. So, and I know you don't care.
Not at all.
Yeah, so we'll see how that plays out. But in other news, we have, did you hear Mission Impossible has been postponed? And I know you're over all the postponements and stuff, but both of the Mission Impossibles have been postponed until 2023 and 2024, respectively. But no word on Top Gun yet, so we'll see what happens with that. And Adele postponed her residency, also due to Rona. So we'll see. But Rona's not canceling or postponing or ruining everything because in spite of it all, Spider-Man has boomeranged itself to become the 8th highest global grossing movie. I don't know if I said that right. The 8th highest movie of all time. Highest grossing movie of all time. There we go. So what do you think about that? It's like the one movie that surpassed everything in the pandemic. Like people aren't going to the movie, they're going to see Spider-Man.
I don't know if I don't know if that's a good thing.
Why not?
because we're in the middle of a pandemic and people sold out theaters to go see this movie, making it the eighth highest grossing movie in the middle of a pandemic. So I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing that, you know, they came out in droves to see Spider-Man, like, but won't do what they need to do in order to end the pandemic. But, we're willing to pack into a theater for it, though.
I, God, yeah. When you put it like that, like it's yeah, it's kind of there's two prongs about that. Like I get what you're saying, and I agree completely. But so what does that say about the movie film? You can't even say it's all super. What does it say about the movie industry? Should they pack it up? Should they put it all on streaming? Because what makes Spider-Man an anomaly? We can't just say it's because it was a Marvel movie, because the other Marvel movies that have come out during the pandemic, like you said earlier, I think we were off air though when you said it is. What was your quote? What did you say about the other Marvel movies as far as their gross? Do you remember?
Oh, they were a drop in the bucket compared to what Spider-Man made.
Yeah, so we can't say that it's superhero or superhero movies or Marvel movies. Like, what was it? I wonder what it was about Spider-Man that just kind of drew everybody out
So
like
I
that.
disagree with you on that comment.
What?
So I do believe it was superhero. What made Spider-Man different from the other Marvel movies that came out is that Spider-Man is a well-known character within the Marvel universe already. Um, Black Widow. This was her standalone movie, but this was after they killed her in Endgame. As well as the fact we're going to have to acknowledge a little bit cynic, but she is a female superhero character compared to the male characters that just sell more um, because of who their audience ultimately is. Then you have Shang-Chi, and that was a new character that came out. And then you have Eternals. That was also a whole new phase within the universe. Spider-Man has already established, that character has already been established within the Marvel universe. So I can see why it was definitely going to make more money than any of the other movies. Now, granted, I'm very, very surprised on how much money it has made and that it did sell out theaters. Still think that's like, huh? What? But just a little bit woo. But I can understand. I do feel that a lot of the reason is that it's a Marvel movie and it's a superhero that's already been established within the universe.
I get that, and I I get that, and I guess I'm with you on. I knew it was going to be big, and I'm not surprised about that. I knew it was going to be a successful movie, and probably due to some of the things that you said, probably one of the more successful ones that has been released throughout this year because it has a direct tie-in to the previous phases of the Marvel universe that we're all so familiar with. Um, so, and it's not just it still has that door to the old school Marvel, to OG Marvel. So I get that. But as far as everything else that's being released in the theaters, like going back to a conversation we had kind of last week, the 355 or the 355, my bad, I forgot, I gotta say it like it's a zip code, the 355, man. It you know Compared to what they were hoping, it flopped. And then other movies that people just aren't going out to see. So was Spider-Man really worth the pandemic, versus everything else not being so much worth it? Or like, and you can't, every movie can't be a Spider-Man. So I guess that's just what I'm asking. What do you do, as someone, um, how do you get people back out to the movies? I guess is what I'm asking. Is there Does that make sense?
There's not a formula. People are going to come out for the well-established franchises. Just wait until the next Fast and the Furious comes out. People are going to flock to the theaters in order to see it, especially with how Spider-Man came out and was so successful. That's not going to stop the movie studios because the other movies aren't doing so well. That's going to make them invest even more in movies and franchises that they've already established within their studios, because they know people are going to come out for characters that they know rather than coming out for new concepts that they've
Okay.
never seen before and or that they don't recognize. So I just think that they're going to shift their attention a little bit with their future projects. They're going to put more attention into characters that people know, that people love, that people saw before the pandemic, and hope that they can make at least half of what Spider-Man did. Spider-Man's an anomaly. We're going to have to acknowledge that it's an anomaly. It is not a standard that other studios are just going to be able to meet, but they're going to strive for that as much as possible. So the 355, great movie. We think it's a great movie, but we also have to look at the fact, even though it's getting a sequel, which we haven't heard anything about yet. Atomic Blonde was seen as a little bit of a flop. Like it was critically acclaimed, but in the money that it made, it didn't make the amount of money that it should have made. And once again, I'm being a cynic. I do it all the time. We also have to acknowledge the fact that female-led movies, and I hate that this is what happens, do not sell as well as male-led movies when it comes to action flicks. It is just the reality. And so the 355 being in the middle of a pandemic, I'm not surprised that it flopped. I loved it. I thought it was great. I'm telling everybody to go see it, but I'm not surprised that it flopped.
Okay. So, and based on what you said, it kind of goes back to something I mentioned earlier. So, do you think they should continue to push movies since we're saying that the more well-established ones have a better chance? So, do you think they should push the Mission Impossibles back?
Okay, so that's a Tom Cruise thing. That's a Tom Cruise thing.
Yeah, but
it's not a decision. It's not necessarily a decision of the studio. It's them making that decision to make him happy because it's Tom Cruise. Pushing it back, I mean, that's a decision that they can make. Mission Impossible, I mean,
it's kind of like what we were talking about with the Fast and Furious. Now it's formulaic. So now you go see it out of habit. You go see it just because you're invested in it, I guess. People aren't
going to flock to the studio. People aren't going to flock to the movie theaters for it necessarily because of what you just said. They're going to go see it, but it's not a Spider-Man. Like Spider-Man is not. What's the word again? Because that sounds like an SAT word that we're going to have to put on the list. Go ahead.
Anomaly?
No, the other one.
Which one?
The F word. The F word. Go ahead.
Fantastic. It's fortuitous. I don't know.
For is it formidable? Oh Lord, you don't even know what words you be saying, do you? You just be throwing them out, Eddie.
I don't know what you're trying to say, so I have to.
But you said the word, y'all. Eddie literally just said the word, and she can't remember what word she said.
I have to remember the context. Formidable, fortuitous. What you said? It starts with an F. My favorite F word is fuck. So, damn.
No, but Eddie, you just said it. Okay. Formal is like whatever. I forget it.
Okay.
Forget it.
It'll come back to me. I'll be like, what did I just say? But okay. Formulaic.
There we go. That's the word.
Okay.
All right. So Spider-Man is not that. Like, there's not like check marks. There's not things they're checking off when they made Spider-Man. Spider-Man is a story that has grown over time, and they're not just repeating the same thing and just trying to go crazier and crazier every time. Like, you can see the progression in the character development with Spider-Man. With Fast and Furious and Mission Impossible, that has ended. It's just action flicks where they try to go crazier and crazier every single time. Like, that's it. That's all they're doing. So with that, people aren't going to flock to the theater as much. They're going to make money, but they're not going to flock to the theater as much. So the whole thing is, if they're holding it back, maybe they just want to make more money.
Okay. So since it's Tom Cruise, you're saying basically we should probably hold our breath on fine on to get on seeing the Top Gun, because they haven't pushed it yet. And I think what Top Gun is coming in April was the last the
But
sequel.
they
So they
finished Top Gun. They were still they
in
were still trying to
production.
finish filming Mission
Mission
Impossible.
Impossibles.
Like they
Yeah,
still
okay.
hadn't finished Mission Impossible. So I think that was the problem. Is they finished filming Top Gun. They hadn't finished filming Mission Impossible.
Impossible.
So
Okay.
yeah. So that I think that's mainly the problem.
Okay. And we'll see if Morbius, and maybe that's why they pushed Morbius, is because it was, like you said, newer, a newer story in the Spider-Man universe, and or in the universe, in the comic book universe, and maybe we'll see, especially with Omicron being dying down now, hopefully, until the next mutation comes along. We'll see what happens with that. But
Knock on wood.
knock on wood, yes. Speaking of movies, superhero movies, and what's going to happen, the next big one, the one that we've talked about, and I've gone back and forth on. Have you heard that Batman is clocking in at just right under 3 hours?
And we're gonna be bored out of our minds for those 3 hours.
Okay, and so that's what I said. I'm like, coming in at 3 hours. Now, going to the movies, I'm one of those who love going to the movies. And I will admit, I do not go to the movies for less than 90 minutes. If it's 90 minutes or less, I'll just wait till it comes on TV. That's a waste of my time, all of that other stuff. So I'm one of those who I like going to the movies for at least, you have to be at about 2 hours, right under 2 hours or 2 hours plus. 3 hours is an epic. Like, and that was the thought that I had, is like, because I'm already kind of on the fence about Batman, so I'm like, this better be damn good to get me in here for damn near 3 hours. Plus, that's just the regular movie. You're gonna have to stay longer to see the end credits. So it's just like, what the? So you're already calling Batman boring, and you were its biggest champion in telling me to give Robert Pattinson a chance as emo man, or emo Batman, or Bat emo.
Oh, I told you to get Robert Pattinson. I'm not a fan of Batman.
So you're saying give him a chance, but the movie's going to
I'm
be
a
boring as
DC
hell.
fan. Like, I am
Yes.
loyal to DC because I know what DC can be. We've had this conversation before. Check out our episode DC versus Marvel from last season.
Great plug.
So I am a DC fan. So I'm always going to push for, because I know what DC can be. Like, DC can be so much more, but they're trying to follow after Marvel because they don't know how to create their own path. And so the 3 hours, Endgame was almost 3 hours.
But I wasn't bored.
See, but Endgame was almost 3 hours. And we all was really excited to see Endgame. I think Batman, what I'm trying to say when I say that Endgame was almost 3 hours, is that DC is making a mistake again. And their mistake is they're thinking, because everybody knows who Batman is, that we're going to flock to the theaters for 3 hours of Batman. You have not reestablished this new person who is playing Batman again. Like, how many people have they had? And so you got to establish him. So I do need the movie to be under 2 hours because we don't know what he can do. You mean to tell me I got to sit in the theater, and I swear to God, if I go to that theater and that movie is boring from beginning to end, we're going to have some real problems, DC. Like, y'all ain't learned yet?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this one I could have done at like right about 2 hours, but to tell such an epic story, like, and even like the trailers have made it appear more interesting, like it's piqued my interest. Um, but I'm just like, yeah, and I'm not saying I'm not going to see it, because we know we'll be there. I'll be there. I'll watch it. Um, if it's not something we see together, I'll probably be texting you like, "What the fuck?" Like this is, So I'm just gonna call it. Wait till the full review for the Batman episode, because yeah, um, I'm trying to. Every time I think I might be on board with this movie, something else happens. I'm like, "What the fuck, man?" And that just seems like, especially like you said, for um because with the Avengers, they built their way up to that 3 hour mark. They didn't start off with them being 3 hours. They worked their way up to that. It's just like you're right now telling us. So what's the next one going to be? 4, 5? Like really? Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Um. So yeah. It just, and I still want a Batfleck. Like I still don't think Ben Affleck got a great shot, got a great deal as Batman. Like, I think he would have been good if he had a decent standalone Batman movie. That's just my opinion, but Joss Whedon ruined all of that. Um, anyway, so moving on. Speaking of movies, it is award season, and the Golden Globes did their show must go on type thing, and they couldn't even have, we talked about it, and because of, Rona and Omicron or whatever, this mutation we're on now, they couldn't even have their subdued, no one was coming anyway. I think I read someone said this could have, and what could have been an email award show, they actually gave out their awards, and all they did was just tweet them ultimately. So, but and it's sad to see how far they've come or they've fallen, because this used to be the precursor to the Oscars. Like you could pretty much almost set your clock by on the big Oscar nominees and possibly the winners by who took home a Golden Globe. But I don't know about that anymore. Did you see the winners list for the Globes?
I mean, I looked at it, yeah.
Were there any big surprises for you? Or you just, meaning you looked at it like you saw it and you're like, oh, okay, and moved on. Like,
Yeah, that's mainly it. My bad.
okay, so um,
I mean,
I,
like I was gonna say, Will Smith winning.
mhm.
Little surprising. I mean, we've talked about it. We did talk about it on possibility of him being nominated because he was really good. But actually winning, I was a little shocked. I was a little shocked.
Yeah, because
Not gonna lie.
his category is really good. And the thing I love about his category and is that, like we were just talking about, especially in the middle of a demic, I don't necessarily have to leave my house. Although I'm pretty sure these movies at the theater would not be sold out, but all of the movies that I'm going to mention really quickly are actually the ones that you can stream from home. So Mahershala Ali and Swan Song. I haven't watched it yet. It's on the list because I made up my mind that I'm starting my Oscar movie thing early, because for the past 2 years I haven't been able to do my Oscar marathon like I normally do. So this year I figure I'm going to get it done. I'm going to watch all the Oscar movies. So Swan Song is on Apple. Javier Bardem and being the Ricardos is on Amazon. Benedict Cumberbatch, The Power of the Dog. I've heard great things about that movie and is next on my list actually. Netflix, Will Smith, King Richard, and we did talk about it. He was phenomenal in that. We did say that he would probably garner a mention. I'm not sure about the win because I haven't seen the others yet. And then of course, the king of all, Denzel Washington, The Tragedy of Macbeth, which is also on Apple, and I haven't watched that one yet, but it is also on my list. Are any of those on your list?
I saw King Richard already.
Okay.
No, all jokes aside. I am going to find time to watch Being the Ricardos. I'm really, really excited about that. Um, and the others, no.
Okay. Um, I want to see The Eyes of Tammy Faye just for the acting. I'm not too crazy about the story, but I
How
think
dare you
Andrew.
not want to watch a movie about my namesake?
But the makeup job, the transformation for her and Andrew Garfield was phenomenal. So I'm sure the acting. It's one of those movies where it's more or less about the acting. Jessica Chastain was nominated for that. Olivia Colman for The Lost Daughter. The Lost Daughter is really good on Netflix. I was surprised about how much I enjoyed that. Nicole Kidman won for Being the Ricardos. Lady Gaga. I still have not seen The House of Gucci. Have you seen it yet?
I haven't. I keep meaning to and just have not made it to the theaters. But I
Yeah.
do want to see it because I heard she did a phenomenal job in that movie.
Yeah, even though it got panned critically and everybody who's associated, like Tom Ford, the fashion industry, the Gucci family threatening lawsuits about it, they said the acting was phenomenal, especially her. So I do want to see it for that. I just know now to expect over the top camp, which if you didn't expect that from the trailers, then you weren't really paying much attention. And then Kristen Stewart was nominated for Spencer, but I know there was some controversy because she was left off of the SAG nominations. Um, and so I was like, okay, but I think she was included in a Critics' Choice, which they're saying is probably going to be the new precursor for the Oscars. We will see what happens in that. But yeah, so those are some of the big ones that I saw. Leonardo DiCaprio was nominated for Don't Look Up. I haven't watched that yet. It's also on my list. I just haven't wanted to, since it seems like we're living in doomsday times every time you turn on the news. I really haven't wanted to watch a movie about doomsday yet, you know? So we'll see. Andrew Garfield won for Tick Tick Boom. And yeah, Ariana DeBose won for West Side Story. I still have not made it to see that yet. Have you seen it?
Of course. I
Okay.
saw it opening night. It's West Side
Oh,
Story.
I still haven't seen it yet, but I will. I don't
It's
know.
really good.
Yeah, and I've seen the original, and I actually love the original. So I think if it doesn't come to TV soon, I will definitely go see it in the theater. So yeah, and Succession one for TV. The guy from gosh, I want to say, did the guy from no, he was nominated from Squid Game was nominated.
He
Squid
won.
Game got nominations. One of them won, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Oh Young Soo won for Squid Game. Okay. And it also got some big SAG nominations too. So SAG is the Screen Actors Guild Awards, and they won. So they kind of repeated a little bit. Although I know Reservation Dogs, which is on Hulu, which is a great show, one of my favorite shows from last year. They were kind of on that snubs list for the SAG Awards, outstanding acting. And then the other big award show, which is coming, which I think is very underrated, maybe because it's all about us, for us, by us, the NAACP Awards. Have you seen those nominations?
Yes. I looked them over.
Any that stood out to you?
Aquafina got nominated for her voice.
For her voice in what?
Oh my god, what's the dragon animated movie? It's the dragon animated movie.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I can't think of it right now.
Is it Raya or something like
Yeah,
that?
Raya and the Last Lost Dragon.
Yes. So she got nominated for that movie, and a little bit of the controversy is that she got what they call black scent.
She has been, yeah, they have long been going in on her over her
And
black
she made
scent.
herself famous on that accent and has never actually figured out a way to explain why that is her accent.
Yeah. So, um, we will see. Well, I guess she would fall under the list of. So it's more for her black scent and not the fact that she's not black. Because I was gonna say she
No,
would
no, no,
fall.
no. Yeah,
Okay,
because there's a couple people who are
she
not
would.
black who were nominated. I think it's more for the fact that your voice is cultural appropriation in a way. and there's no acknowledgement of that, and she was nominated. Now, I guess this would be an unpopular thing to say, but I'm not necessarily like fully insulted on it. But then I'm not the person from New like I know some of my friends who are from New York who hate the fact of how she talks. Like just hate it. And so I can definitely understand why they get very, very upset of how she sounds. Like because no matter where you're from, like no. Like I'm sorry, no.
Well,
Um Go ahead.
go ahead. Now, I was going to say, who is that? I can't think of his name right now. Oh, this is the perfect time to have a brain fart. Doing a live podcast where we don't script everything. So, and just in conversation, stuff comes up. But the dude, we both love him. He was in The Killing. He plays Rick Flag in,
Oh, I know you're talking about.
he is not from here. And when people heard him talk, they talked about his black scent. He grew up in Sweden. He's Swedish, and he said the reason why he has it is because how he learned English was basically from hip hop and rap music,
Yeah, I
and
remember.
and so and I'm not saying the same as for her because she is Asian American,
She was
but
raised here. She was raised
yeah.
here.
So
He was
I
raised in
don't.
another country learning English from hip hop. I can understand why his voice sounds the roughness of his voice sounds like that.
So yeah, but I don't know. I guess Aquafina, her voice annoys me for everything because it always sounds like she's yelling when she's talking. That's the most annoying thing
Because
I
she
find.
is.
That's the most annoying thing about her voice to me. The black scent. Um, yeah, I'm with you. I that's not a battle I'm gonna fight. It's it whatever. There are other. I guess they're on the list of cultural appropriation. They're a bigger thing. I don't know. Yeah.
Hey, we dealing with that all across the Asian culture as they start to open our doors for they start opening their doors for Western influence. You
Yeah.
you start to see, and yes, she is Asian American, but as you look more into it, there's a lot of cultural appropriation that has gone on, that has never been addressed because it's kind of we just never really paid attention or we never fully focused on it, so they never got the attention. Not that it wasn't addressed, it never got the attention that it's currently getting now. So it's becoming a thing now where people are pointing out her black scent, compared to previously. Like this is recently when the Marvel movie that she was in, that's when I first heard about it. I mean her voice annoys me as well, from Crazy Rich Asians and everything. But I just never like it never clicked in my head like how she sounded. Like it just never I just never really paid attention enough to like analyze it. But then
Hmm.
when somebody pointed out, I was like, oh shoot, that's where it's from. So yeah. So cultural appropriation, yeah, I think it's getting a lot more attention now because the focus is on Asian culture and Asian countries and and Western influence into those countries and into I guess their celebrity world over there.
Yeah. Just one last thing. I love the fact that, the NAACP awards are also encompassing, and I love the literary nominees. I just love finding different books and the ones that I've read and the ones that I haven't. So I'm like, oh, okay, I've read quite a few of these from the book list. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then I've just added some more to my ever growing book list. So that's always cool. Like I said, for us, by us. Um, you know. Also, moving on. Speaking of Asian, and our love for Korean music and things, Monster X announces a summer tour. The closest they're getting to us is Fort Worth in June. So I'm excited about that. And I hope that they're actually able to fulfill their tour. They did come here in January for the debut and the premiere of their movie. And they did some of the Jingle Ball um, concerts, or And so that was cool. Atiz is currently on tour. I know neither one of us are a big Atiz fan, but they're here currently touring the U.S. Um, so I'm excited. Are you excited about Monster X's tour? You want to go?
No,
You don't want to see Monster X live?
I'm not going to a concert.
Well, okay. Let me put it this way: in the real world, when we return to Earth One and Rona is gone, would you go? Let me put
No,
it that way. You wouldn't? Why not?
it's too many teenagers. No, majority of
Really?
K-pop fans are teenagers. No, I'm good.
Okay. Um,
I love them, but not to literally be in an audience full of teenage girls. No,
teenage girls. Okay, I got you. Bam Bam released his second album. Have you heard it?
it was shit.
I actually liked it. I liked it better than the first one. I
It
did.
was better than the first one, but it still ain't the best.
I
It was a
compared
lot of
to.
skips. I'm sorry.
I did not skip anything. Was there one that just stood out to me as being just memorable? No. I've listened
Then
to it.
that's on the same page as what I just said, but go ahead.
No, it's not. I
Go ahead.
I have listened to it several times though. That's what I can say. I did compared to where he was with the first one with Ribbon. This one is much much better, and I did enjoy it. It was something I could put on and listen to. I've listened to it like I said several
It'll be
times, and
background noise.
yeah, I could do that.
Okay.
But the first one couldn't even make it as background noise. I'm like, oh, definitely not. So I couldn't just let the first one play like that. So it was better. He's improving. Let's leave it at that. And did you hear about Taemin and his military service?
I did.
And what did you think about that?
It tracks. He's been dealing with depression since he debuted. Um, I think people forget that he was really, really young when he started to train with SM and Entertainment, the company, and he was 14 years old when he debuted. And 14 back when he debuted is very, very different from being 14 and debuting now. And so he went through a lot. He's been dealing with depression since his teenage years. So I can see being in the military away from his friends and family. I can see it being really, really, really hard for him because mentally he wasn't 100 before he had to enlist. So yeah.
Yeah, with the depression and anxiety. So, um, moving him to non-active service or non-combat service, non-active duty, to complete his military service. So, hopefully, he gets better and is getting to the mental health treatment and services that he needs. I am looking forward to when he gets out though and makes more music. That would be cool. Um, and also Bacon. They'll be getting out, I guess, about the same time since they enrolled practically the same time. Does that extend his service since he's going to non-active duty?
To be honest, I don't know. I don't know how long because Zico was I think Zico did like the social services part or something like that, and
Uh,
Zico got out. So Zico's out after a year and a half. So I don't think it extended. I think he still has to do his 18 months and then he is out.
so Zico's officially out now?
Yeah, he went to one of his friends' weddings. There was a photo of him at the
Yeah, I know.
wedding.
I know Crush was out. Well, Crush was at the wedding too, but I know Crush is, I just thought maybe they were on leave. I know Crush wouldn't quite be out because he just went in like last year. About
No, no, Crush went in 2020. Crush is out.
He's out.
Crush went in 2020.
Well, yeah, he went in about December, November 2020. So that's been a little bit over a
Oh,
year.
unless he's on his last leave. But
Yeah, because he went.
Zico went in earlier. Like it's either Zico is out or he has like maybe a month left. But I think Zico's out. I think his service is over.
Yeah, because Crush went in right after he released his album, which was October, November of 2020. So he went in after that because
He went in October.
Yeah, so he should. I think he's on because he's done some stuff on leave. So I'm looking forward to
Yeah,
that,
go see his girlfriend.
and I still haven't seen or heard anything about Dean, who's just like the Pied Piper of secrecy. So I don't know if he went in, went out, whatever, but we'll see. Okay, so getting to a couple things. Novak Djokovic, godly. We talked about this the last story, the last rewind, and I was siding with him from the fact that okay, you knew he was, and I said it was two different things. Him being allowed into Australia, them knowing who he was, and that he wasn't taking it, them giving him the medical exemption and still letting him in, and then by the time he gets there, putting him in quarantine. I thought that was shitty. I said that, and I said the whole vaccination shit was something else. So he won his appeal, and they had decided that he was going to stay. When the last time we covered the story, his appeal was pending. He won the appeal. He was going to stay, and he was going to get to play in the Australian Open. And then he went and opened his big mouth again. And it turns out that he lied on his medical exemption form. He lied to get into the country. He had Rona back in December before Christmas. He didn't even quarantine properly when he had Rona and he had symptoms. So yeah. And he was again officially deported. They sent him home, not playing in the US in the Australian Open. And then he probably won't be able to play in the French Open because he's not vaccinated. And Macron in French has already said his goal is to make the life of unvaccinated people hell. So yeah, that's where we are with Novak Djokovic. What you think? I'm all for it. I want to hear what you think. Just
uh,
give him the full Tammy. That's what I'm waiting for.
ah, so I will say that I hope Australia has learned their lesson on letting in idiots like that into their country in the first place. Because no matter what excuse y'all use, you know that man did not fulfill the requirements that it took to enter your country. And the only reason why Australia allowed him to enter the country is because he was the number one seed for tennis. That is the only reason why. And y'all got dragged by everybody in your own country for what you did. And then you have to go back on your word. And so I blame Australia. I mean, I blame him too, because he's a fucking idiot. Lying up and down, and then once they said that you could stay, then you thought that you was bold enough to just come out and be like, haha, I lied to you. What you gonna do now? Kick you out? That's
Yeah,
exactly what they were gonna do. Kick you out.
and that's the first thing I said is that you talk too damn much. Like when it happened before, you got the medical exemption, dude. You should just kept your mouth fucking shut. And when people asked you, did you finally get vaccinated? Just be vague and play dumb like everybody else, who doesn't want to talk about it or who knows they're in the wrong or whatever. But when you opened your mouth again after because you thought you really won something, like I was actually surprised, and I guess that kind of went along with my initial thinking was, okay, if you knew all of this beforehand and you decide to let him in, you can't just all of now that you're catching that smoke, you can't all of a sudden just tell him he can't be there, especially if you knew the truth. But come to find out, he got in, he lied to get in about this stupid medical exemption, which I didn't understand how he had in the first place because he just wasn't vaccinated. Like, what was the exemption? So, you
He
know,
had COVID.
Oh, okay. That he didn't quarantine from. So he thinks because he had COVID that exempts him from getting it
No,
again, or
that was part of the exemption thing. So because they look at it as in, if you have COVID, there's a grace period, right?
to where your
So they looked at
antibodies
it.
protect you.
Yeah, exactly. So they looked at it as in, okay, so he said he had COVID, which means that he fits into the medical exemption because of the antibodies and everything like that, because of the grace period that he would get. So when he said that he got COVID and he did what he needed to do, it was still within a grace period. That's the reason why they allowed him to enter the country.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess it's better than him drinking his own pee, So, what?
I like I just think that Australia was just stupid. Like, because they got dragged by their people, and the whole response that people in Australia was saying was they knew he was going to get away with it, but they were really pissed off. Like they were dragging their government through the mud because of this decision, all because of his talent. So basically, he's rich, he's talented, he's going to bring attention to the Australian Open, so we're going to let him in. No matter if he's unvaccinated, it's against our rules. No matter if he's an anti-vaxxer, so every chance that he gets, he talks about how he's never getting vaxxed, and he puts out false information about the vaccine and everything like that. Their whole thing was, but he's going to bring attention to the Australian Open. And that's why I said I hope they learned their lesson. Like, you need to stick to your guns. Like, the United States ain't doing it, so the rest of y'all need to. Come on now.
Really, don't lead by our example. We've become the epitome of shit show over the past 4 years. I guess it kind of goes with finally saying those quiet parts out loud. We've always kind of had our own shit. We've always been, I guess, an undercover shit show. And then you have people who, like, Mitch McConnell, who I can't even say, was it a Freudian slip where he just says the quiet parts out loud and just really lets you know what they're thinking? After our Senate fails to secure voting rights, which they voted for unanimously, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, they asked him how he felt about that. And then he says, well, African Americans are voting at the same rates as Americans, inferring that, we aren't real Americans, which we always knew we were otherized, but hearing it out loud from someone who's supposed to be leading and protecting your country.
So I get the focus on that, right? But are we really surprised?
No,
But
absolutely not.
What even throws me off even more is that you think because we are willing to stand in 11-hour lines in order to make sure that we vote, that justifies you not passing the voting rights bill. Like that's what I got from the statement. Like I'm saying, like everybody's focused on the fact of like, come on now, we're not surprised. We're not surprised. Like we know where majority of the Republicans stand, what they think of not only our community but as well as Hispanic community, the Asian community, and any other community of color. We understand that. But what even throws me off even more is that they're saying, well, they're willing to stand in 11-hour lines now, so I don't see the problem because y'all came out in droves to vote. We came out in droves to vote to make sure that y'all didn't reelect Donald Trump.
Thank you.
That's why we did it. But it doesn't mean we should have to do it every single time.
Exactly. And we shouldn't have to do it every single time to make sure that we can get rid of people like Trump, like McConnell, who you still cannot convince me that he and Graham and Collins legitimately won their elections. You just can't. But that's neither here nor there at this moment.
He's from Kentucky.
Yeah, but he was. It's just he was losing pretty bad in the polls until all of a sudden he won the election. So that's my whole thing about it. The three of them, they were trending way down in their polls until all of a sudden they won those they won those seats back. So that's where I'm standing on that. But and then the reason why also is because a lot of these red states are enacting these laws that not only make it harder for people of color to vote, but they're implementing laws that they can just go in and change the vote. So if they don't agree with the outcome of the election, they can just go in and unilaterally change them to change the results to what they want them to be. So it's negating the vote anyway. And that is what is going on in the states. And that is why the voting rights bill and act is so important to stop that from happening. And so you're saying it doesn't matter. And, so it's just a lot. And yeah, it is a lot happening. And you think it starts off as something as simple as voting rights, but then it gets into the whole critical race, what can be taught in schools, what can be censored, because you think it starts off at schools, but it's not. It doesn't end there. Censorship is going to keep going into the things that we like to talk about, to TV and what can be shown on TV shows, what books we can read, and all of that stuff. So it's just a very, very slippery, dangerous slope, especially when you look at how the Supreme Court is made up and the things that, sometimes they surprise you, like with their last vote on, allowing Trump's records, the archives, to go to the January 6th committee. When they do stuff like that, it's like, oh, okay. And then to the other stuff that you think would be legitimate common sense that they would vote on, like having vaccine mandates in place to protect businesses. But no, you can't do that. But the hospitals and the health workers need to have those vaccine mandates. So when the hospitals get overrun, you make sure you have staff there to take care of the people who shouldn't be there to begin with, So it's just it's a whole thing. We could have a whole political thing on it. But speaking about Black people being
Oh, no.
What?
I got a last comment on that.
Okay, go ahead.
My last comment is all of this, and I'm gonna say it quiet out loud.
Okay.
All of this is Biden's fault. I'm just put it out there.
Why?
Because he is a failure at being president. He is not able to do anything that he advertised that he could do at all. And they are not willing to step up and play hardball. That's another thing. Democrats are not willing to play hardball, and Joe Biden gets blamed because you're the leader of the Democratic Party, because you're the Democratic president currently in the White House. So you have not done your full job of making sure this shit gets done. Because then you go on TV and be like, I don't think it's going to happen, y'all. Really? Oh, okay. You just, okay. So yeah, Biden gets a lot of that failure rate.
I can't disagree with that. He is better than the last person, but I also think that he's playing by rules from when he was in the Senate, and it was still a quote unquote gentleman's game. When the norms were followed, when they did not say, and again, McConnell has been saying the quiet parts out loud, that he made it his mission. And when he was allowed to get away with the shit he got away with in the Senate under Obama's presidency, the blatant obstruction, to continue on to the blatant obstruction and, aiding and abetting a criminal in office, also obstruction with 45, to being in the minority and still being a hypocrite, because he blew up this filibuster to get those judges passed. So I agree with you. You cannot keep playing by 1982 rules. You can't even play by 1992 rules. Hell, you can't even play by the rules from 2012 when you were the vice president. You're dealing with a whole different animal. So I don't know if he's mentally prepared with that, if he's too much of a traditionalist to handle it. But I agree with you. The gloves need to come off. They just fucking need to come off. So I agree.
And extend the Supreme Court.
Yes.
What the fuck? That's the best thing that they could do right now. The best thing that he could do right now is extend the Supreme Court. Pack the courts.
I agree. Because As quiet as it's kept, he's getting the lower courts passed because the rules don't just fall out of place once McConnell's not leading anymore. So he is getting those lower court um, judgeships passed. But the one that really matters at this point is the Supreme Court. So you definitely have got to do that. Um, and like I was saying, which leads into our otherism of Black people, but this one is more specifically Black women. I'm just going to say fresh and fit and let you take it from there.
So I don't listen to them, but once again, throwing it out there because I love them. I listened to a podcast, Higher Learning, and they brought it up, and so I went and did a little bit more research just to see exactly like what the heck are y'all talking about, because this sounds ridiculous. And so on a podcast, Fresh and Fit, it's these two Black dudes. One is African, one is West Indian. They're from Miami, Florida. So we gotta take into context that they are from a certain environment and community that I just don't know about like that because I'm not about that life. But on their podcast, the first thing they said was that they don't date Black women at all, whatsoever. And then they said because they're not going on a midnight trip. So they didn't only say like, oh, I just don't date Black women, but then they also went 2 steps further and started to insult Black women. And they felt that insulting us and disrespecting us was a firm explanation on the reason why they don't date us. You ever seen a picture of who's fresh and fit?
Mm-hmm.
You seen the picture? So okay. What you think? They cute? They banging?
Fresh and Fit could not get no. They couldn't get it if they paid for it. Okay.
Thank you. And that's what I want. I just wanted my opinion to be confirmed because I didn't want to put it out there and then all of a sudden they were like, no, like they actually get. So these dudes are not. Like they are not top of the line, but they are of the mindset of they're quality men, which is a whole nother conversation, Eddie. And they are going for quality women. They just don't feel that quality women are Black women. And then to take it a step further, what's her name?
Brittany Renner.
Brittany Renner. So then I listened to a clip of Brittany Renner went on DJ Academics podcast, and Fresh and Fit was on there as well. And they said to her face, "You ain't nothing special." And she dragged them. Now, granted, she, ain't the best example of Black women, but still, she called them out. And when the question was asked on why, they have no real explanation. They have no explanation. They have no logical reason why. They just say no. But then when you try to actually have a longer conversation with them about it, all of a sudden they shut you down. At least that's what they did to the Black women who were on the podcast when they said it. And then they start to insult you. So, yeah, like it's crazy because I'd be like, who hurt you? Because that's you saying you wouldn't date somebody that looks like your mother. At least that's how I'm getting it. Your mother ain't nothing special. Like that's kind of what I get it from what they were saying. Like your mother is nothing special. Your sisters are nothing special because your sisters are Black women and your mom's a Black woman. So, men, watch what you say. Like actually think about it before you just come out with it. It's okay if you don't date your own race, but you ain't got to insult and disrespect them though. Because just like we've always stood for you and protected you, I feel that can Black men finally step up and do the same? I'm just saying.
No. Oh, I said that out loud, didn't I?
You did.
I mean, it's a symptom. Like, and you said it. We're always supposed to cape for them. And I think we've talked about before, and I've said it before. I don't know if I've said it this bluntly as I'm about to say it, but who the fuck is caping for us? When the hell are you going to start stepping up for us. We save democracy. You know, we get the blame for every fucking thing. Everything that's wrong in the black community, somehow they're able to trace it back to black women. Us being too educated, us being single women, single moms. Well, we didn't fucking make those babies by ourselves.
Us being independent
Us
and
being
saying,
independent.
hey, I'm affording my stuff on my own. So if I want you, it's because I want you, not because I need you. And then you getting insulted because I said I don't need you. I
Thank you.
want you though, but I
Or
don't
me,
need you.
or me expecting you to have standards to come to the table equally
Mm-hmm.
yoked. You're not a fucking Build-A-Bear. If I wanted to build something, I go to fucking Build-A-Bear. Like, you know, I'm supposed to take you homeless off the streets, build you up, help you aspire to your goals and dreams. But me, my goals and dreams are too much. Or me wanting you to have something is me being a gold digger. So no, I'm so fucking sick of it. Brittany Renner, you do you. Okay, and that's the thing. We're not monoliths. Like black
We're
women, we
not.
come in all shapes, sizes, whatever, all different backgrounds.
And she
Like,
owns her shit. So
you know,
there has to be an acknowledgement. She owns her shit. Like she knows who she is. Like you may not like it, but she knows
but
who she is.
but she knows who she is, and she stood up for us. So I can't hate on her for that. Am I a fan? No. But am I hating on her? No. Baby girl, you do you. And these two mud ducks, what the fuck makes them special? Like, they are not fucking special. They're nothing to look at. Like I said, they couldn't hit it if they paid for it, and I was sitting on a fucking T-ball stick. Okay, like, like there's nothing about them that is utterly attractive. So I'm with you. Who hurt you? And what gives you the right to talk about all black women like that? Yes, you may have your preferences. Go ahead. Like, were you dogged by black women? Were they the ones who told you no?
A preference. Okay, so what I do want to say, don't want to get too deep into this. When you start to say that black women in history have been at the bottom of the barrel in dating preferences, and I say that with quotations. So when men come out and say, that's just my preference, it's like when you say you only date tall men, or you only date this, or you only date that. That's my preference, just like that's your preference. No, that's not the same. I was about to say the N word because I'm about to get real black up in it. My bad. it was at the tip of my tongue. I stopped myself. My bad. But no, it's not the same thing. Because what you're adding on is to the trauma of that we already have to deal with on a regular basis, because black women, and for anyone that does not know, are less likely to date outside of their race. And it's not only because we don't want to, but it's also because in society, there is an idea that we're less desirable unless you just want a one night. And so when you say that, you are literally piling on the idea and stereotypes that's already been put out there, not only in society, but in our community. And so you saying that that's a preference? No, boo-boo. That's not a preference. It's not a preference when you go further and then you start to insult us. And you say you're not taking a midnight run or a midnight trip. Like, no. Not at all. Because y'all also get insulted when you see a black woman dating outside of her race.
Fuck it. I say date who you want. I that ship sailed a long time ago.
Date who you want, but then you ain't got to talk. You ain't got to throw your women from your community under the bus in order to
No,
justify your dating preferences.
you don't. And to me, that I think that was the most insulting about all of it. The most disgusting thing about all of it. Date who you want. You have the right to choose who you want to date. You have your reasons for wanting to date. But again, to group a whole entire class of people into one for whatever your stupid reasons are. That, to me, that is disgusting. We've all been hurt by somebody. If I were to say all black men are dogs because of the ones that it did not work out with for different reasons, like, yeah, it's just a lot. It is so much to unpack. Like, we could do a whole episode on that shit alone.
Yeah.
But so kudos to Brittany Renner for calling them out on their shit. I feel like we need a palate cleanser. This has been a big episode, so I'm gonna ask you: did you see the Spit Pastor?
That is not a palate cleanser. That is not. I don't know if you thought because it has something to do with religion that would cleanse my palate. But I'm gonna let you know it does not, Eddie. I'm gonna just put that out there, okay?
Okay, we'll save that one for next time. The M&M.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you're right. That deserves a real conversation. We'll save that one for next time.
I got an actual palate cleanser.
Okay.
I'm gonna go to our normal palate cleanser that always, like, just ends on a good note.
BTS?
I'm never disappointed. Huh?
BTS. Oh, okay. What is it?
I was gonna go there, but then I was just like, let's do something different.
Okay.
Did you listen to Mark's new song?
I did.
Did you like it?
I did. I'm anticipating a full album.
Me too. Like, I'm like, is he like putting out these singles, and then when we get that full album, it's gonna have these songs, and even because I'm loving the direction, because it's so real and raw, and like I was like, damn, like I was feeling the lyrics.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, this was an improvement for Bam Bam. Like you said, it still was not the best, but I think just because Ribbon was at the bottom, this was a couple of steps
and
up.
I agree. It was still forgettable for me. That's the reason why I was just like, because it was forgettable.
Yeah, but I'm anticipating Mark, and also, have you seen the Jin Young teasers? Like, I think Jin Young is teasing us. I know he wanted to concentrate on acting, but I have a feeling we're gonna get like a mini something from Jin Young, like maybe even if it's a 2-song single set or something. I did like Dive, but we'll see. And I am anticipating. I cannot wait for Death Soul. I cannot wait for JB to drop his Death project. How long do we have for that?
Well, it comes out on the 28th.
Next week. Yeah.
So yes,
excited.
I'm with you on the excitement of JB coming out with his second album, Love, coming out on January 28th. So yeah, okay, so here's my thing. You said teasers about Jin Young, but I'm like, there's been teasers about GOT7.
Yeah, they just celebrate their 8th anniversary.
They did, and they dropped some subtle hints that something may be coming. And so I was talking to someone. I was just like, all right, so I feel there's definitely going to be an album coming out before JB has to enlist.
I think so too.
Now we got a whole year to go because JB doesn't have to enlist until January 5th, but there's definitely going to be an album that comes out sometime this year before he enlists. I'm just going to put that out there right now. They're waiting for Jackson to be done because Jackson is doing his thing in China. But once like everybody starts wrapping up, when you start to hear them entering back into Korea, Mark is the key. So when I hear Mark's back in Korea, I know it's a wrap. They're about to do it.
Yeah. Because, well, Jackson, he also released a song, and I liked his new song. Did you?
I didn't hear it yet. I'll be honest. I'm so sorry. I'm a horrible Jackson fan. My bad. So I haven't heard it yet. But I do want to like sit down and like actually go through his discography. Is that how you say it?
Mm-hmm.
I do want to go through it because he just drops singles every couple months. But yeah, I definitely want to listen to it because I'm hearing good things about his singles that he's been putting out as well. So I definitely got to sit down and listen to his.
Yeah. So Okay, so Spit Pastor, I'm putting him on the list for the next one. Yeah.
Hopefully enough happens that we don't have to talk about that non-palate cleanser, okay?
So gross. It ranks up there with drinking your pee to cure COVID. But
Let's just end
okay.
it here.
Yes, okay, let's. Well, I think that was a sufficient palate cleanser. I am looking forward to that. So, yeah, stay tuned for the next one. I'm sure we'll have a little mini review of JB's Death Project. Love, 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 love. And that does it for this episode of The Rewind. Please be sure to listen, like, follow, and comment on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and or Spotify Podcasts. You can also keep up to date on the latest in entertainment and pop culture news, as well as other amazing kernels of pop culture goodness at the soon to be new and improved popcornwinedown.com. That's it. That's the plug. Did you like my popcorn popper?
Yeah. That sounded awesome.
Thank you, thank you. And thank you all, as always, for joining us. Until next time, I'm Eddie.
And I'm Tammy. Bye.
Peace.